Good day, everybody. I hope that you are well, and I also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today, we'll be doing our grade 7 English lesson on suffixes. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once we've logged on to aplusstudents.ca, with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of English Language Arts. We're doing grade 7. And then we're going to scroll down up until we get to our chapter of suffixes. All right, so our chapter is suffixes. Our subject is English Language Arts. We're doing grade 7. And the lessons that we are going to be focusing on under the chapter of suffixes is words with full and words with less. So words with full and words with less. All right, so when it comes to suffixes, right, a suffix can be added to the end of a base word, and that is also to create a new word. So a suffix can be added to the end of a base word to create a new word. A suffix. And a suffix is a word that can basically stand on its own. So it's a word that can stand on its own. You can either add a prefix to that word which is in front. A prefix is a word that you add in front of it, or you can add a suffix, which is a word that you add at the end of that specific word, the base word, and then, like we said, it creates a new word or a new meaning to that word. And when it comes to a suffix, right, or even a prefix, but with suffixes, knowing the meaning of a suffix, it can help you to determine the meaning of a word. Because remember, we said once you add a suffix to the end of that base word, it creates a new word, right? A new word with a new meaning. So knowing the meaning of the suffix, right? A suffix can basically be, it's like either a few letters that you add to the base word or that you add to the end of that base word. So knowing the meaning of the suffix even before you add it to the base word will help you to determine the meaning of the new word you'll create once it is added to the base word. And if we look at our the first words, the first suffix, right? Here we have the suffix full, which is FUL. So the suffix full, it means either having, showing, or causing. So this is what we meant when we say that if you know the meaning of the suffix, meaning the meaning of full means having, showing, or causing. So knowing the meaning of the suffix, it can help to determine the meaning of the word. So whatever or whenever we add this word full or the suffix full to our base word, right? It will change the meaning of that word because now it will mean that it means having much of that, showing much of that, or causing much of something. And if we look at the suffix less, it is written like less, but usually if you add it to a base word, pardon, if you add it to a base word and then it sounds like less, then it sounds like less. And this word less or less, right, it means without. So which means that if you add that word less or less to a base word, and then it means that it will create basically a new word as well as a new meaning because now it would mean that, for example, your base word without, something without, or without something. That is what it will mean. And before we go to an example of less, right? Let's quickly look at an example or few examples of, I'm going to do this, I'm going to half it. Then over here, we're going to put suffixes with full. And over here, we're going to put suffixes with less, right? And if we look at the first word, look at the word meaning, look meaningful. If something is meaningful, if something is meaningful, right? Then it means that like, yeah, this thing is it means a lot to me, right? It's having lots of meaning to something, it's showing lots of meaning to something, right? That is what meaningful means. But yeah, we also have meaningless. So we also have meaningless, and meaningless means without meaning. So can you see these two words are actually opposite, because meaningful means almost like something positive. You have like a lot of that, right? It's like a positive word. It's like showing meaning to something. However, when we have the word less, if the word less is added to our base word, then it almost like shows a negative type of word, or negative type of meaning to that word, because now it means this is without meaning. Meaningless is without meaning. It's the same like saying mindful. I'm very mindful of something. You're mindful of something, like this is what I'm thinking of. This is, I'm really considering, whatever you are saying. However, if we are mindless, right? Mindless is without. It's like you don't care. It sounds almost like that. You see, so we basically have opposite words, or opposite meanings of those words. Hopeful, hopeful. We are hopeful that something is going to happen. We are having lots of hope that, there's going to be change, or showing hope that, what, things are going to be better. That is hopeful, for example. Hopeless, it's like, it is what it is. It's not going to happen. You're feeding your mind with negativity. Hopeless, like, I don't even care, like, yeah, that is hopeless. I'm not even going to think of that person or think of that thing, because it doesn't even make sense. Hopeless. Thankful. Here we have a word, thankful. Somebody did something for you, now you are showing you're thankful to that person, you're grateful to that person, you're showing, gratitude and thanks, or having lots of gratitude or thanks, showing thankfulness. But without that, right, it means like you don't have a care. Homeless. Look at the word homeless. If you're homeless, it means that you're without a home. So, which means that all of our words with our suffix less, it means more of a negative connotations. It means that you are without that thing. Homeless, you're without a home. Spotless, meaning that there isn't even you don't even see a speck of dust on the table, or you don't even see a speck of dust somewhere, because it is spotless. Skillful, it means that you are very good at what you are doing. You are skilled. You are excellent in the trade that you're doing, or whatever that you're specifically doing. Skillful, whether you're good at football, whether you're good at sports, or, for example, doing things, right? But you are full of that. You are showing lots of that. So that this is but a few examples, right, of suffixes with full and suffixes with less. And that is why we say knowing the meaning of a suffix, knowing the meaning of a suffix can basically help you determine the meaning of a new word. Because hope is a word, or thank is a word. Being thankful is like showing, yo, I'm really grateful for this. Thankless, if that's even a word, it means that you're not even grateful. Like, you're supposed to do that for me, you know? Whereas we have less, it means without something. Homeless, you don't have a home. Hopeless, there's no hope. It is what it is. Spotless, there isn't even a speck of dust. And that is why we say knowing the meaning of the suffix, it can help you to determine the meaning of the word. Because this base word, the base word can mean something. But as soon as we add our suffix to that base word, the meaning changes. You see, like in this case with full, the meaning changes to more of a positive type of word. Whereas with less, our meaning basically changes to something more negative. All right. So once again, we have a suffix which can either be full or less. In this case, there's more suffixes, but for now we are just focusing on full or less. And a suffix we add to the end of a base word. And once we add our suffix to the end of a base word, and then it changes the meaning of the word. Because your base word, it means something, but as soon as you add your suffix, because your suffix already means something on its own too, once you add that suffix to your base word, it changes the meaning of the word. And knowing the meaning of your suffix can help you to determine the meaning of your new word that is being created once added to the base word. All right. So now we're going to aplusstudents.ca, and we're going to do our chapter is suffixes, and we're going to first focus on words with full. So we're first going to focus on words with full. And remember we said full means having it means showing, or it means causing. All right. We're now going to look at a few activities and then we're going to our test. We need to say which is more thoughtful. Thought is to think of something, right? But now, which is more thoughtful? It says which is a way more, or which is a more thoughtful way to make a decision. A thoughtful way to make a decision. And something that is more a thoughtful way of making a decision, right, is thinking of the pros, thinking of the cons. That is a more thoughtful way of making a decision. Because what are the good things about this thing? What is the bad things about this thing? What is the disadvantages? What is the advantages of a decision that you're about to make? Because now it means it is something that is well thought out. I thought of the pros, I thought of the cons before making my decision. So it means that something thoughtful, or thoughtful means it is well thought out, which means that if we were to answer the question, which is more thoughtful way to make a decision, it is writing out your pros and cons, or thinking about the pros and the cons of something. All right. If we look at the next one, which is considered to be respectful? Respect. Remember, respectful, it means that you are showing respect or you're having respect. So if we were to say which is more considered to be respectful, one of there's actually there's many ways in considering that something is respectful. One of it can be waiting your turn, using words like please and thank you, not shoving people. There's a lot of things, not bullying, being thoughtful, being mindful of others, right? But being respectful or respectful means either showing respect. It means that you need to show respect. That is what respectful means. All right. And then the last one before we go into our test. How would you feel after a restful day? If you were exhausted, you were studying, you had a long day at school with extramural activities, how would you feel? So now you get home and you are just resting, you are sleeping, you are napping, you are chilling. How would you feel the next day after you had a good and restful day? Or it is Saturday and you are just not doing anything, you're just resting. How would you feel the next day? How would you feel after a restful day? And restful, right? It means that you are resting, you know, it's relaxing. So if you were to have a restful day, like literally just whole day, you're resting, taking it easy, relaxing, you would feel recharged, right? So you would feel recharged because you have rested. All right. So now we're going to do our test where we are going to do words or focus on words with full. And we said full means having, showing, or causing. So once again, how would you feel after a restful day? You've rested all day, you were relaxed all day. So after a restful day, would you feel option one exhausted or option two recharged? And if we were to choose the correct option, then we would say after a restful day, I would be option one, recharge. Sorry, option two, recharged. The next one says, which is someone more likely to be prideful, showing pride, full of pride, having pride? So, which is someone that might be more likely to be prideful about? Would you be more prideful about a mistake or an accomplishment? A mistake or an accomplishment? And something that you might be more prideful about is an accomplishment. Because now you'll be bragging, like, look at me, I got straight, I am topping. That is being prideful. Because there's a difference between being prideful and humble. Who is less skillful? Less skillful. Is it option one, an amateur athlete, or option two, a professional athlete? So, who is less skillful? Less skillful. And we can say if somebody is less skillful, then you are maybe an, if we are comparing it to amateur and professional athletes, then we will say somebody less skillful is an amateur athlete. You are not that much skillful. And who has more forceful personality? A forceful personality. Like it's my way. You do what I say. Is it a timid person or a bossy person? And somebody who is more forceful or who has a more forceful personality, it is a bossy person. A bossy person has a more forceful personality. All right. So now we're going with words with less. And remember, we said less means without, right? It means without. Here it says, which is less likely to be described tasteless. If something is tasteless, then it means that it is without any taste. So something without taste. Sometimes tasteless can be stuff without salt. Orange juice is usually tasteless, like the pure orange juice. So you have quite a few things that is without taste. But anything, if we use, for example, the word less added to our base word, then it means without. All right, but let's go to our test. Which is meaningless, without meaning? Which is meaningless? It is without meaning. Is it option one, a random string of words, or a proper sentence? Option two. Which one is correct? And something that is meaningless, we would say a random string of words. It's like the person is just babbling. It's a random string of words. But a sentence is full of meaning. But meaningless is option one, a random string of words. All right, so who might you describe as penniless? Who might you describe as penniless? Is it option one, someone who has no way of paying off her debts? Or option two, someone who is trying to expand her business? Penniless. And if we were to, someone who we would describe as penniless is someone who has no way of paying off their debt. All right. Which has timeless beauty? Is it the Mona Lisa has timeless beauty or the latest fashion without time? Is it the Mona Lisa or option two, the latest fashion? And something that is timeless beauty, we can say it is the Mona Lisa. It is something that is beautiful over time. All right, and the last one we can say, what might fix a flavorless sauce? So, what might fix a flavorless sauce? Is it adding spices or adding water? Something that might fix a flavorless sauce. So, what might fix a flavorless sauce? Something that is without flavor. And something that might fix a flavorless sauce is adding spice. Because once you add spice, it's like you're adding flavor to something. All right. So this is now the end of our lesson on suffixes. We focus on words with full and words with less. A suffix is a word that we add to or at the end of a base word. A base word is a word that can stand on its own. Once we add the suffix to the base word, it changes the meaning of that word, or it basically creates a new word. And knowing the meaning of the suffix will help you to determine the meaning of your new word that you have created by adding it to the base word. We said words with full means, or the suffix full means having, showing, or causing, and the words or the suffix less means without. All right, so this is now the end of our lesson on suffixes. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining, and I really hope you're going to have a good evening further. So, till next time, have a good day. Goodbye.